I grew up in Harlem, the heart of Harlem, 117th Street, 7th Avenue. New York for me is multifaceted. I mean, my growing up had levels of uniqueness. Uh, Playing street games, Johnny on the Pony.
Johnny on the Pony. It is a children's game with several variants. One version of the game is played when one player climbs another's back and the climber guesses the number of certain objects out of sight. Another version of the game is played with one group of players climbing on the backs of a second group in order to build as large a pile as possible or to cause the supporting players to collapse.
Stoop ball.
Stickball Stoop Ball. A game similar to baseball played with a broomstick and various balls.
Skellies in the street.
Skelly. A game played on the floor using bottle tops etc. that are filled with wax. Boxes are set up about 4 to 5 feet away from each other in a diagonal fashion. Players must move from box to box totaling 10 or more boxes. In the center is a set of boxes referred to as Skelly. You flick tops across the ground to slide box to box, ultimately hoping to get to the center unscathed. Meanwhile, knocking the hull out of other players' tops and knocking them out the box, thereby eliminating your opponents.
Oh man. And when you look back on those, the wonderful situations kept changing as you grew. Uh, when you're 11 and 12, if you could run a Skelly's board and get to 13 before your buddies, you felt like a king. And then gradually, when you got to 16, 17, and 18, basketball was the thing. So, but New York City was incredible. It had an incredible impact on who I am. Yeah. We expressed ourselves kind of volatilely, but it was verbal. It wasn't violent, but you know, we were volatile. You know, what I mean, you reacted. It was a very angry period. There was a Civil War period. I was a young guy in the early '70s. Was when I hit my 18. So there were a lot of things going on that weren't right, and we spoke up about them. It was a tough time. I've had to learn. I had to learn to be accepting of how the young generation goes about things because my expectations were, you go after something this way. This is how you do it. And I went to hear someone speak who was an activist, and what she said was that that's how we did it. This is how they do it. So once you become a little bit open, I think that the young folks now, they're doing okay. Well, I live in downtown Brooklyn, Fort Greene. Yeah. Well, I moved in here in 1983. I've been here quite a while. And when I came here, it was the number one murder capital of the city. The Fort Greene projects had the highest mortality rate in all of New York. So now nobody dies here. There's a lot more money here. The property has become a lot more commercialized, and there's a lot more police activity. And when I came here, you call the police, you could twiddle your thumbs for quite a while. Those days are over. So the quality of life has really gotten better. It's definitely good because you can go out at night. I'll give you an example. We had a large group of students come to Long Island University. They were the medical students who were rescued uh, from Panama. And when they came on campus, one of my tasks as a director of security was to educate them where they had come. They were told that they could not go to Myrtle Avenue and go to the store alone, nor should they go after a certain time at night. That is no longer the case. Well, the mom and pop stores are gone, so there's not much to go for. But you can walk around this neighborhood at night where, when I first moved here, it was not an intelligent thing. Well, the difference is that as the property became more and more commercially viable, the city itself cared more about it. There was more police involvement, but it hasn't changed itself, and it's not inviting to, for example, young people. You don't see a whole lot more young couples coming in. It hasn't gotten there unless they got money. So, there's changes there. Yes, the quality of life is better, but is it overwhelmingly this fantastic thing? No, it's not. It is commercialized, it's gentrified. Every corner you go on, something's being built, but it's not really being built for the average person. If I live somewhere now, I've always loved the hustle and bustle of New York. I've always enjoyed. I think New York makes you live. Um, the city is vibrant, and I really mean that to the point that if you knew somebody who wasn't doing well and they weren't feeling good and they felt like they wanted to give up, you'd bring them to New York and they'd be hyper. So I've always had that. I've always lived that, but I am getting to the point. I'm getting to the age where I'd like to visit it, and I like to live a little calmer. I love New York. I am New York. New York is what I am. I have a really tough edge. I got it from here. I learned a lot. And it's so cliche. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Having had the opportunity to do business in other cities and other states, I understand it because other cities and other states move slower or move differently. I don't want to say slower, but they operate and they function in different ways. I enjoy how New York does. I enjoy how it moves. I enjoy that you have to be sharp, you have to be intelligent, you got to be alert or you're going under. And I do enjoy those. You'll find that people who are maybe not financially stable can be awfully aggressive because they feel that they're not at a certain point and at a certain time. Not to say that money determines how you are in the pecking order, but it has a lot to do with it. When you find that people are, I guess, sustained a little better, you'll find that their mood and temperament is a little bit better. But the one thing about New York, there's a place for you somewhere. I've heard people say, well, we don't act like that here in some small town where you got 15,000 people. I had a guy tell me one time that he was amazed when he came to New York. He saw so many people. He said, I see the same people every day of my life because that's the people that live in my town. I've been living in New York a real long time, and when I get away from my building, I don't see anybody I know. The city has so much to offer. Um, if we found a way to balance it out, I don't think everything should be free, but if you found a way to balance it out so that folks could enjoy it, folks could sense it and be a part of it, it would just be even more awesome than it is. I mean, there's so much entertainment here. There's so much excitement here. But I do think at some points New York is overwhelming. It's a little bit too much. A great New York would be a more accessible New York.